Hey guys, so these next few videos are going to be a little bit more sad. Um, I think right now I've planned two videos. One's going to be more of my story and my encounters with depression and stuff, and the second one's going to be more about it and help and stuff. I'm not quite sure. I guess it'll end up going wherever it goes as I make it. So this video is going to be about depression and self-harm and my kind of dealings with it. And kind of, it'll lead into the next video, which is going to be about help with that kind of thing. As you know, I've made a couple videos incorporating different quotes that I've heard people hear when they're upset or whatever, and kind of me debunking them, analyzing them, I don't know. I talk about the quotes and I try to help the person that says them. I try to give encouragement to the people that use them or think them. I don't know if it helps or not. I hope it does. So anyway, this one's about depression. And I'd really like to try to stay on topic, but we'll see if that happens. So, my story. Well, it started kind of, I don't know, it kind of started in 6th grade. I don't know. Well, I don't know, it kind of even started before then, because in 4th grade I ran away from home for a while. I mean, just for like an hour. I came back. It was late at night. Whatever. It was cold. It was stupid. I ran away in like middle of the night in January. It was dumb. Came back. Anyway, there had always I was a very emotional child. Still am. Very emotional. I have very vivid. I have vivid emotions and I feel them very deeply. I feel deep emotions for people. I always have. So when I get upset, it's not just me getting upset, it's me getting horribly upset or whatever, or I'll be really happy or what. It just depends. Totally depends on the day. Depends on the mood, depends on my hormones, whatever. So, I don't know. I never really had many friends. I kind of read books. And then my best friend and I kind of drifted apart in 6th grade because, I don't know, a lot of things happened. Kids change so much when they get into middle school. Middle school is by far so much worse than high school. I hated middle school so much. It was so hard for me because you know what, you're going through puberty. Well, I had already gone through most of puberty. I'd kind of gotten there, and I was very self-conscious. I hated myself. I mean, I hated who I was, what I represented, and so I just got really depressed and upset with myself because I didn't have any friends. And as time went on, I just kind of got really sad all the time. I wouldn't really care about classes. I'd lay my head down on my desk during class and fall asleep, and my teacher would try and wake me up, whatever. I just didn't care. I was upset all the time. And then I started cutting myself. I started delving into self-harm. And you could even make an argument that the self-harm started before the depression, and the depression followed. It doesn't matter. They both came at around the same time. I started cutting my wrist and wearing this, oh my gosh, it was like the ugliest bracelet ever, and it was like this thick, and it was just, oh gosh, it was horrifyingly ugly. But you know what? It covered the marks. I was cool with it. I started wearing this gray sweatshirt all the time. I can't even imagine how dirty it was because I wore it all the time. I didn't wash it, whatever. I hated my complexion. I hated how oily my skin was. I hated everything about myself. And so it was in like the spring of that year that I started doing all that stuff. And so it was the summer before 7th grade. I spent most of it at my dad's house, and so I was running around with the kids in another small town in the area, and I found one that was depressed like me and self-harming like me, and we kind of got together and became really good friends. And I don't know, my depression worsened. My dad didn't offer any help. I tried reaching out, whatever. I was caught with my marks a lot, and then I had to stop cutting my wrist because I found out about that, and then I just kind of cut everywhere. Like, you'll see random scars all over because, you know, I couldn't cut my wrist, so I had to cut everything. And it just sucked. Everything got darker and darker, and it wasn't necessarily that I was sad all the time, it's just that I didn't care. I wasn't really happy. I just didn't care. Didn't care about anything anymore. And it wasn't the whole, oh, girl, I don't care. I'm gonna be myself. And I'm gonna do what I want because I don't care what anybody thinks. It wasn't like that. It was more like, hey, Alex, you wanna come do this with me? I don't care. It was just numbness every day, a dull ache in my chest, and it was just endless, day after day. And gosh, I don't even know what really brought this on. It just kind of happened, and then I let it continue, and it continued, and it took a hold of me, and it didn't let me go until the end of that summer. I started up 7th grade, which was awful. I had no friends. Hung out with the emo crowd, which in my small school there really isn't much of one. It's just a bunch of kind of weird kids that kind of half like each other and hate themselves. So it was awful. And I still remember it was the middle of September, homecoming, first day, no, I think it was first night of homecoming. Oh, and the couple months leading up to this, I had begun to collect pills, and that night I tried to kill myself. I just took a bunch of them, like 40, 60, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Took a bunch of them, and with the intention of taking 100 and then going to sleep and dying. But something just smacked me in the face and told me, stop it right now. And I stopped, and I went and I told my mom. And I went to the hospital, was hospitalized for like 5 days, whatever. Went to the mental health unit, scared the crap out of me, whatever. Ended up coming back home, went on Prozac. I ended up having kind of a rebellious phase where I was still hurting myself, and I was just kind of trying to find myself. And I don't know, I tried to find myself in boys, which didn't end well. And I don't know, it's just things got bad. And I remember at the beginning of the new year, during my 7th grade year, my grandparents, they always take me, every Christmas we'd all go to church together, and I was like, whatever. I hadn't been accepted in churches before because they all went to these stiff old churches. But that year they went to a mega church, which was like tailored toward youth and stuff, and you know, what they said really made sense. And it was kind of like, you know, no matter what you've done, God still loves you. And you know what? He'll always be there with you. And I was like, hey, you know what? That makes sense. And so I asked my grandma if I could keep going. And she, of course, was thrilled. My very religious grandmother was very happy that her dark and depressed only granddaughter wanted to go to church with her. She was so happy. Of course, she brought me. And I started going, and I started kind of growing a faith. And then I realized that that megachurch was not the right place for me, because a lot of the people at that megachurch, I didn't fit in there either. And I was still 12 and awkward, and honestly, I don't know. It wasn't the right type of people for me. They weren't like religious at all. The kids that went to that youth group were not religious at all. At least they didn't act like it. All they did was laugh and make fun of people all the time, and I thought, I don't want to be a part of this. They exclude me anyway. So that summer, the summer after 7th grade, one of my only friends from that youth group said, hey, you want to come to a different one? Because that youth group quits on the summer. And so we went to a different one, and oh my gosh, I fell in love with it. I stayed that whole summer, went every Wednesday, and I went to a youth group camp, which was unheard of for me. I didn't know a single person on that trip, and I went. It was amazing. I had the time of my life. I came back with best friends and a very, very strong faith in God. And when the previous youth group started up again in the fall, I didn't go back. I stayed with that youth group that I went to. And you know what? My faith in God has been growing ever since. We've had some really rocky months since then. And you know what? I've had some really awful times. Like, I've had some times where I thought I've completely fallen away. But then I remember that, you know what? No matter what I do, God smacked me in the face that night and told me not to kill myself because I'm worth something more than that. And so are you. And so, no matter what happens between me and God, I'll always be able to come back to Him, and I will always whenever I need him again, he will always greet me with open arms. Always. And so this is kind of leading into the next video, which is going to be talking more about self-harm and stuff. And kind of, I am in no way trying to treat people. I'm just trying to help. Because I know how much it sucks to go through depression, and I know how terrible you feel about yourself. I understand that. Sometimes I still struggle with self-harm. Finding God wasn't like a bam, cure-all for everything. No, it was like, now I finally have an eternal hope that I can cling to. So yeah, you know what, I still struggle with self-harm sometimes. I still get really sad, but it's nowhere near like it used to be. And yeah, sometimes I struggle with a lot harder problems than I used to, but you know what? I've always got something helping me out. It just depends on whether I let it or not. And you know what? I've had some really rough times lately, but we always come out. God and I always come out on top. Eventually. We have some really rocky moments, but we always come out together and on top. That's my story. It sucked to go through. You know what? I struggled with mental issues, like I was sad all the time, hated myself. I struggled with even sexual questions. How far should my limits be? How far should I let this random boy that I kind of like go with me? What do I do? What do I not do? What do I save for marriage? Do I save anything for marriage? And you know what? Yeah, I made mistakes. I made mistakes on all fields, okay? I made mistakes everywhere. And I was 12. You know what? A lot of people say, oh, they were 12, they weren't really going through anything. High school is where all the hard problems are. You know what? Yeah, that used to be true. But you know what? I feel like more and more, middle school is the hardest part. High school, oh man, high school is fine. I have my own issues I deal with, but it's no longer bullying or whatever I went through in middle school. It's my own problems, and I deal with them on my own, and they're fine, because I'm more mature and I can deal with them. And no, middle school sucks. You have bullying, you have all these problems thrust upon you, and you have no idea how to deal with it. Because you know what? Elementary school is a piece of cake, and middle school is hell. That's what middle school should say, welcome to hell, because it sucks. High school is nothing compared to that. Your classes are harder, your people are just kind of B-words, but you know what? It is nothing compared to middle school. So, especially if you're a middle schooler, you know what? I don't think your problems are nothing. I understand that your problems are completely valid. And I understand that because I went through that. And you know what? I'll pray for you. I don't care. You can message me. I'll talk. Whatever. I don't care. I want to be able to help you, okay? Whatever you're going through. If my videos help, that would be amazing. If you want to talk, that's cool too. I don't mind. I'll talk to whoever, I guess. I want to help you out of whatever you're dealing with. Because you know what, there is hope, but you've got to want it. The thing is, I can offer somebody as much help as I can. I can literally do everything for that person. I can open the door for them, but I cannot push you through it. You're going to be the one who has to walk through that door. I'll get into that in the next video. So don't forget to hit subscribe and check out my Tumblr. See you later.